Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the most powerful being in a fantasy world? Imagine yourself transported to a universe where your gaming skills are real, where every spell you memorized can alter the reality around you. This is the world of Ainz, the protagonist of Overlord, a series that challenges our perceptions of what it means to be a hero in a fantasy world. Ainz, formerly known as Mamanga, was just another dedicated player of the MMORPG Yggdrasil. But when the game servers shut down, something unbelievable happened. He found himself transported to a new world where the game's rules became his new reality. Suddenly, Ainz was no longer just a player but the last of the supreme beings, ruler of the great tomb of Nazarick and the most powerful magic user known. But what makes Ainz so fascinating is not just his immense power but the duality of his nature. Outwardly, he is an imposing overlord, a skeleton with glowing red eyes draped in ornate black robes. His mere presence inspires terror and reverence. Yet, inside, Ainz still carries the mind of Suzuki Satoru, an ordinary worker from Japan, constantly struggling to live up to the expectations of his loyal subordinates. This duality creates both comedic and dramatic situations. Imagine trying to maintain the facade of an all-powerful and omniscient ruler while internally panicking, improvising every decision, and hoping no one notices you have no idea what you're doing. It's this internal struggle that makes Ainz so human despite his monstrous appearance. But make no mistake, Ainz is truly powerful. His arsenal of spells is vast and devastating. With 718 spells in his repertoire, he has a magical solution for almost any situation. From simple magic arrows to high-level spells capable of altering reality, Ainz is a force of nature in battle. One of his most impressive spells is Ia Shub Nigirath, a high-level spell that summons a black cyclone capable of instantly killing everything in its range. More than that, the victims of this spell are sacrificed to summon creatures known as Dark Young, terrible monsters that obey Ainz's commands. Imagine the power to decide the fate of entire armies with a single spell. But Ainz's true power doesn't just lie in his magic, but in his cunning. He is a brilliant strategist, capable of planning several steps ahead of his adversaries. His caution and meticulous planning make him a formidable opponent not only on the battlefield but also in the political arena. A perfect example of this is his alternate persona, Mammon, the black-armored adventurer. While he openly rules as the Sorcerer King, Ainz also disguises himself as a powerful human warrior. This dual identity not only allows him to gather valuable information but also serves as a pressure valve for the people, a symbol of hope against the feared Sorcerer King. It's a worldwide chess game where Ainz plays against himself, always ensuring his final victory. What makes Ainz's journey so fascinating is how he navigates the moral complexities of his new role. As an ordinary human in his original world, Ainz initially maintains some empathy for humanity. However, as his power grows and the needs of Nazarick become his priority, we see a gradual transformation in his moral perspective. Ainz is neither a conventional villain nor a traditional hero. He exists in a gray area where his actions are motivated by a desire to protect those loyal to him, even if it means causing suffering to others. It's an interesting reflection of how power can shape our perceptions and priorities. A fascinating aspect of Ainz's character is his relationship with the NPCs of Nazarick. Created by the former members of his guild, these beings gained life and consciousness in the new world. To them, Ainz is not just a ruler but a divine figure, the last of the supreme beings who did not abandon them. This devotion places immense weight on Ainz's shoulders. He feels responsible for these beings, determined not to disappoint them or betray the memory of their creators. It's a unique dynamic that adds depth to the character, showing that even the most powerful beings can be vulnerable to the weight of expectations. Among the NPCs, Albedo and Demiurge stand out as Ainz's closest advisors. Ironically, they often interpret Ainz's improvised actions as part of some grand and inscrutable plan. This dynamic leads to hilarious situations where Ainz finds himself trying to keep up with plans he supposedly created, but are actually the product of his superintelligent subordinate's imagination. As the story progresses, we see Ainz expanding his domain, establishing the Sorcerer Kingdom. It's fascinating to observe how he balances his desire to create a utopia, at least for those under his protection, with the practical realities of ruling a kingdom. His progressive policies, such as equality among races and meritocracy, starkly contrast with the feudal practices of neighboring human kingdoms. But not everything is rosy in Ainz's reign. His nature as an undead being and his immense power inspire both admiration and terror. For many, he is a tyrant that must be overthrown at all costs. This constant opposition forces Ainz to always be alert, further developing his skills as a strategist and ruler. One of the most intriguing aspects of the story is the possibility of other players being transported to this new world. This perspective keeps Ainz constantly on guard, aware that there may be others as powerful as he, potentially hostile to his kingdom. As Ainz expands his empire, we face fascinating questions about the nature of power and morality. Is it justifiable to sacrifice some for the greater good? How far can one go to protect those they love? Ainz often finds himself making tough choices, balancing Nazarick's needs with his remaining desire to be seen as a just and benevolent ruler. One of Ainz's most intriguing spells is Wish Upon a Star, a high-level spell that literally allows him to make wishes come true. However, using this spell comes at a significant cost in terms of experience. It's a constant reminder that even the most powerful beings have limitations and must use their abilities wisely. Ainz's journey is also a fascinating exploration of the concept of identity. Who is Ainz really? Is he still Suzuki Satoru, the ordinary human from Japan? Or has he truly become the Overlord everyone sees? This internal struggle for identity adds a layer of depth to the character that goes beyond his impressive powers. A unique aspect of Overlord is how the series addresses the concept of the villain. In many stories, we would see Ainz as the final antagonist, the demon lord the hero must defeat. However, by making him the protagonist, we are forced to question our preconceived notions of good and evil. We see his struggles, his doubts, and his moments of humanity, making it hard to simply label him as evil. Ainz's relationship with the world around him is complex and multifaceted. On one hand, he sees this new world as a playground for his experiments and ambitions. On the other, there are moments when we glimpse genuine concern for the well-being of his subjects and even humanity in general. This duality creates a fascinatingly unpredictable character. One of the most exciting aspects of the story is seeing how Ainz adapts his Yggdrasil strategies to the new world. Techniques that were effective in the game don't always work the same way in reality, forcing Ainz to be creative and adaptable. It's a reminder that even the most powerful beings must be willing to learn and evolve. Ainz's quest for knowledge about the new world is another fascinating aspect of his personality. Despite his immense power, he is constantly seeking to learn more, whether about magic, politics, or the various races that inhabit this new realm. This thirst for knowledge makes him a more effective ruler and an even more formidable adversary. One of the most impactful moments of Ainz's journey is his battle against Shaltir Bloodfallen, one of Nazarik's floor guardians who was controlled by an unknown force. This battle not only demonstrates Ainz's incredible power but also his tactical cunning and his willingness to do whatever it takes to protect Nazarik, even if it means fighting one of his own guardians. As the story progresses, we see Ainz not just as a conqueror but as a catalyst for change. His presence fundamentally alters the balance of power in the world, forcing nations and individuals to adapt or perish. It's fascinating to see how different factions react to this new reality, some viewing Ainz as a threat to be eliminated, others as an opportunity for personal advancement. Ainz's ability to create and control the undead adds another interesting layer to his personality. To many in the new world, the undead are seen as abominations. However, under Ainz's command, they become an efficient and tireless workforce, performing tasks that would be dangerous or impossible for the living. This raises fascinating questions about the nature of life and death in this universe. A particularly intriguing aspect of Ainz is his ability to plan long-term. While many of his adversaries think in terms of months or years, Ainz often makes plans that span centuries. This unique perspective, made possible by his immortal nature, allows him to make decisions that may seem incomprehensible in the short term but have the potential to shape the future in dramatic ways. Ainz's journey also serves as an interesting commentary on the concept of divinity. To the NPCs of Nazarik, Ainz is essentially a god. His words are law, his actions are inscrutable, and his wisdom is considered infinite. However, we as the audience see Ainz's moments of doubt and confusion. It's a fascinating exploration of how deities are perceived versus their reality. One of the most captivating aspects of Ainz's personality is his unwavering loyalty to the members of his former guild. Even after being transported to the new world where Ainz is effectively a god, he still deeply values the memories of his former companions. This loyalty extends to the NPCs created by these friends, whom Ainz sees almost as his own children. How Ainz handles power is another central theme of the story. We see an ordinary man suddenly endowed with almost limitless power. How does that change a person? We see Ainz grappling with this question, trying to maintain his humanity while navigating the responsibilities and temptations that come with his new status. One of the most intriguing aspects of Ainz is his ability to learn and adapt quickly. Despite his vast experience in Yggdrasil, the new world presents unique challenges he has never faced before. We see Ainz constantly studying, learning about politics, military strategy, and even etiquette to become a more effective ruler. Ainz's relationship with humanity is complex and constantly evolving. Initially, he maintains some empathy for humans, remembering his own lost humanity. However, as time passes and he becomes more deeply involved in his role as Overlord, we see this empathy being tested and sometimes even eroding. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ainz's personality is his ability to play multiple roles. As Ainz, he is the fearsome sorcerer king. As Mammon, he is the heroic adventurer. This duality not only demonstrates his cunning but also highlights the complexity of his situation. He is simultaneously the savior and the conqueror, the hero and the villain. Ainz's journey also serves as an interesting exploration of the concept of legacy. He often worries about how he will be remembered, not just by the inhabitants of the new world but also by his former guildmates should they ever appear. This concern for his legacy influences many of his decisions, adding another layer of complexity to his actions. A particularly intriguing aspect of Ainz is his scientific approach to magic. He often conducts experiments to test the limits of his abilities in the new world, treating magic almost like a scientist would treat an unknown natural phenomenon. This methodical and analytical approach contrasts sharply with the mystical view many in the new world have of magic. How Ainz deals with fear is another fascinating aspect of his personality. As an undead being, he is immune to many of the fears that plague the living. However, he still experiences a different kind of fear, the fear of failing those who place their trust in him, the fear of not living up to expectations. It's a powerful reminder that even the most powerful beings have their insecurities. One of the most intriguing aspects of the story is how Ainz balances his personal goals with the needs of Nazarick. While part of him desires to explore and understand this new world, he also feels an overwhelming responsibility to protect and provide for the NPCs who see him as their supreme leader. This internal conflict adds significant depth to the character. How Ainz deals with absolute power is a central theme of the story.